All right, hello class. We're going to be working on adding and subtracting them. So one of the things that I want to go over is on converting fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. So I'm gonna put a very easy example, 1/2. So when you're doing a half and you want to convert it to a decimal, there's two ways that you can think about this. The first way, which is a little longer, is to divide. Remember that when we have fractions, it's kind of like division. So your numerator is divided by your denominator. In this case, it will look like this: 1 divided by 2. And if you recall, when we're dividing decimals, okay, or numbers, in this case because our dividend is smaller than my divisor, since the 2 does not fit into the 1, I need to add a decimal point and then a 0. So now I can divide 10 by 2. How many times does the 2 fit into the 10? Okay, 5 times, right? So I need to line up my decimal point. So here it's lined up and it fits 5 times. So 5 times 10. And when I subtract, I don't have any remainders. So 1/2 is equal to 0.5. You can also think of this as 50 cents. Half of a dollar is 50 cents. You can also think that 3/4, right? 3/4 is equal to 75 cents, right? You can also think that 1/4, fourth, 1/4 is the same as 25 cents. So that's actually 0.25. That's just a little way that you can remember that. Now let me put another example that is not like these. Let's say now that you have a fraction that has a 5 on the denominator and a 2, that's enough, 5. Okay, you have a 5 in the denominator, 2 in the numerator, that's 2/5. And you want to convert it to a decimal. Okay, you can divide 2 divided by 5. Or another way would be to think, okay, well, I can easily write decimals by having a 10 or 100 or 1,000 in the denominator. So, and 5 is a multiple of 10, right? So I'm gonna find the equivalent fraction with the denominator with a 10. And so to convert this, I need to think about how many times does the 5 times what number will equal 10? And that would be 2, right? 5 times 2 equals 10. So if I do that to the denominator, I do that to the numerator. 2 times 2 equals 4. So 2/5 is equal to 4/10. And 4/10, I already know what 4/10 is in decimal form because I remember this from decimal place value. 4/10 means that it's going to be right after the decimal point. So 4/10 can be written as 0.4 because this is the 10th place. Okay, so that's 4/10. So that's another way that you can do that. If you cannot think about it, having trouble, you can always divide. I know that 5 doesn't fit on the 2, but I can add a decimal point and then a 0, and then I think, okay, how many times does a 5 fit into the 20? And it's 4 times, right? 4 times 5 equals 20. But I need to not forget to add my decimal point here because it needs to be lined up and I get the same answer. All right. In adding decimals, so now we're going to move into adding decimals, and we need to remember that we want to also know how to do estimating. So let's say that I have 2.51 plus 9. I'm going to round these to whole numbers. So if I have 2.51, okay, since I'm rounding to the nearest whole, I look at the next digit, which is a tenth. And if it's 5 or bigger, then I move the ones 1 up. Because this is a 5, I'm going to have to round it, and this is going to be a 3. I'm going to move up my ones up once. So this is a 3 plus, and 3.9 is, I can round it up to 4, right? Because 9 is a big number. So my estimate is 3 plus 4 equals, that's my estimate, 7. The same is done with subtraction, right? Let's say that I have 10.1 minus 6.4. Okay, well, 10.1, I'm going to round it up to the nearest whole number. My 1 is smaller than 5, so I leave 10 as it is. 10 minus, and then 6.4, I look at my 0.4, my tens place, and it's smaller than 5, so I leave 6 as it is. So 10 minus 6 equals 4. So this is just, we're estimating, right? We're estimating. And that's an example in subtraction. After you learn how to do estimation and you pass up skill in this units, then you will be presented with problems with adding and subtracting. And so you just have to make sure that when either you're adding or you're subtracting, the trick is that you line up your digits. So I'm going to show you. Okay, let's see, for example, that you have 3.67 minus 1.5. Okay. So as you can see here on the second digit, I do hundredths place. I only have tens. So when I line up these numbers, I need to make sure that I line up the decimal point in the right place. So I have 3.67, that's my first digit. And then 1.5, I need to line up my decimal point. Okay, so I have 1 on the ones, and I have 5 tenths. So this is how I would line up. Do not put the 5 under the 7, do not put the 1 under the 6. The decimal point needs to be lined up. This is very, very important. Now I can subtract, and if you have a space there, you can just add a 0. And I'm subtracting. So 7 minus 0 equals 7. 6 minus 5 equals 1. Then I carry down the decimal point, and then 3 minus 1 equals 2. So my answer is 2.17. That's an example of subtracting decimals. Remember, you can look at this example again, go back on the video if you need to, or pause it. And with adding, it's the same thing. If you had like 5.1 plus 0.75, then you would line up vertically 5.1 plus, and so I have 0 in my ones place, right? And then it's my decimal point, and then I have 7 tenths. So I put that behind my 1/10 from the other digit, and then my 5. In this case, I need to add a 0 in the hundredths place of my 5.1 because I don't have anything there. And now I can add 0 plus 5 equals 5, 1 plus 7 equals 8. I bring down my decimal point, 5 plus 0 equals 5. And the answer is 5.85. Please let me know if you need me to explain more. I will. I'll do it in the document camera if you need me to. Please let me know if you need any help.